Subscribe and hit that bell icon to be notified about the highlights of India's smartest podcast, The Ranveer Show. This is TRS Clips. So we went to the Kal Bhairav Mandir in Banaras and we made a vlog on it and we spoke about our kind of heartfelt experience about it. Now the Shiv Puran has one story about the Kal Bhairav and the Vishnu Puran has another story about Kal Bhairav. We stuck to the Shiv Puran story because it's Banaras. You know, Shivji is like the Ishtadeva of most people there. And all the Vishnu Puran people get offended with it. We bring on ISKCON monks who are obviously kind of Vishnu bhakts. And the Shiv Puran people say that, no, why are you only bringing on ISKCON people? Why not bring people from the Shiva way of looking at things?
Correct.
And this is what I mean, that why can't we just accept everyone else? Let's speak about just Hinduism.
Sure.
You know, I'm a very, very proud Indian, firstly.
Yeah.
I'm very proud of my religion, my dharma, my culture. But man, I see so much hate around me. And it's not just hate for other religions, it's also hate amongst each other.
Yeah.
Like, as in, you'll hate other Hindus for just having a slightly different thought process than yours. There's so much hate directed at even someone like Devdutt Patnaik.
Yeah.
Who talks about the plural way of looking at things. That the same version of stories can be viewed in multiple ways.
Yeah.
I personally believe algorithms are to blame here. And I say that because I don't know who it was. It was someone who was carrying out an experiment. I think someone from the world of social media, where they said that you just try interacting with some hardcore right-wing pages and the algorithm will learn that, oh, okay, this person likes being fed right-wing politics.
So he'll feed you more.
Yeah. And
the system will feed you more.
The system will feed you more. And they'll feed you such negative narratives about other religions that you'll really begin to hate the other religion.
Yeah, of course.
There'll be videos of someone in a Gulf country killing a kid and all that. And they'll say, oh, you know, they'll demonize Islam generally, which is not true. It's not the right way of looking at other people in the world.
Absolutely.
You know, my question is, one, where do you see us going as like carriers of the Hindu faith? And you are one of those people.
Yes.
Like there's so many Hindu elements in your writing as well.
Of course.
You know, so somewhere I feel that as media professionals, as creative professionals, we pass on the baton. But I don't know where we're going as Hindu culture.
I think what has happened to us, what my effort has been, Ranveer, is to basically try and explain the fact that even though we consider religions to be sort of compartmentalized, but the truth of the matter is that there are far more things that connect us. Similarly, take for example in the world of Hindu faith, you have trinities, right? Lakshmi, Saraswati, Kali, Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh. But even in Christianity, you have the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. Now you consider that if you were to take the male trinity and female trinity in Hinduism and depict them as triangles, Lakshmi, Saraswati, Kali, and Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh, bring the two triangles together, what will you get? A 6-pointed star. You see the 6-pointed star along with the Om symbol very often in mandirs. Outside mandirs, you'll see this as a repeat, swastika, Om, and the 6-pointed star. You see it in several mandirs, particularly in the south. Then you go back to Judaism and you have the Star of David, which is a 6-pointed star. So did they evolve independently? Or was there some interchange? Was there some borrowing of knowledge happening between the two faiths?
I have a lot of Parsi friends grown up around Parsis, and they constantly told me while I was growing up that there's too many parallels between the Hindu faith and the Parsi faith.
Of course.
And as I've grown up, I've begun like studying it a little more, and that's true.
Yeah.
I can't remember who on the show, it was a writer, I believe, who said that in Parsis, there's a word called Ahura.
Yeah.
And in our like philosophies, there's a word called Asura.
Correct.
And there's some linkage between those words.
Yes.
Where for us in our cultural teachings, we talk about Asuras as the enemies of the Devs. And similarly, there's a parallel there where they look at the heroes as Ahuras. And then there is like enemies, which I think it's something from D. I can't remember the word. But there is some linkage between even ancient subcontinental culture, which is India, Pakistan, Afghanistan, and then Central Asia,
Of course it
which is Parsis, which makes me think that maybe it was one origin group.
Well, you think about this, no? That when we are talking about the so-called Vedic expanse, and trust me, I'm not attempting to color it in any way,
No, no.
but whether it was India, whether it was Pakistan, whether it was Afghanistan, whether it was Iran, whether it was Central Europe, and whether it was further southeast from India, whether it was Malaysia, Cambodia, Vietnam, and all of that, I consider it to have been one great Vedic expanse. Today, some of the I mean, if you go back into, let's say, Afghanistan, today we see it as fundamentally an Islamic or a Muslim nation. But when Yun Sang visited India and came through Afghanistan, he was just fascinated because at every 10 steps there was a Buddhist stupa or a monastery. Some of the most remarkable monasteries were there. For me, it is very interesting that you have, on the one hand, in Zoroastrianism, you have Ahura and we have Asura. But Ahuras are the good guys. Ahura Mazda is the great one. And on the other hand, the Asuras are actually the negative forces. As far as
in our ancient subjective reality, they are
in
negative.
our subjective reality, they are negative. But actually, if you now again, that will lead me into a completely different discussion. That actually that binary approach to Asura Deva is actually not really relevant, because some of the greatest Asuras were actually worshipped.
Why don't we actually go into that tangent, because it's a podcast?
Yeah, but the point is that from the angle of, on the one hand you have this Asura Ahura divide, and on the other hand you have the Daiva and the Deva divide.
Daiva was the word?
Daiva was the Zoroastrian word, which was basically talking about guys like the Indra. And those were the negative forces.
I feel that the narrative that should be put across here is that while it's very good to be proud of your own country's culture and Hinduism in general, we can't always assume that Hinduism is the seed of everything else.
Oh, absolutely. There would have been a huge interplay.
Yeah.
There would have, like today, for example, if you take, let's say, the concept of vegetarianism within the world of Hinduism, to a very great extent, the world of vegetarianism in Hinduism would have been influenced by Buddhism.
Yeah.
So each religion has in some ways played on the other. Read the Sermon on the Mount and the Beatitudes in the New Testament, and they read like a lot of the teachings of the Buddha. For example, there is a monastery in Ladakh, which is known as Hemis. And a Russian explorer by the name of Nicholas Notovich had landed up there in the 19th century. And he was injured. His foot was injured, as a result of which he had to stay in Hemis for a far longer time to wait for his leg to heal. And the chief lama out there showed him a scroll. And the scroll talked about a young boy called Isa, who had come to study under the Buddhist masters. And he apparently came from a distant land called Judea. Now, in the Bible, we have a specific period of time which is known as the lost years of Christ, which is between the ages of 12 and 30. Because at age 12, we see Christ has walked into the synagogue and has actually been able to teach, even at that young age. And then we see him re-entering Judea at the age of 30. But we don't know what happens between those 18 odd years. And that fits into a piece of that puzzle, that could it be that he could have actually taken some of his wisdom under the Buddhist masters?